Admiral Vera's voice cut through the hall. Earth's fleet is a museum of failure, antiquated hulls, obsolete weapons, pathetic doctrine. They cannot compete. The amphitheater erupted. Laughter, derisive, cascading, imperial, echoed from species that had long dismissed the newcomers. Charlotte Vera stood at the podium, her violet eyes gleaming. She had defined a decade of military thinking in a single paper. In the third tier, 2 human officers sat as if carved from stone. Captain Orrin Hayes did not blink. The aliens around them nudged and pointed. The mockery was absolute. Even the translators struggled to convey the layers of contempt. She allowed herself a cold satisfaction. The galaxy would finally see Earth for what it was: irrelevant. Within hours, the paper was cited in 17 military academies across 5 empires. It became the cornerstone of modern defense analysis, required reading for every aspiring strategist. At Earth's orbital embassy, the same recording was played. The human staff watched in stillness. No protest was filed, no rebuttal issued. The silence was interpreted as admission. Earth's fleet was obsolete, and they knew it. They simply had no answer, and still, Earth said nothing at all. In the Dravani flagship, Admiral Vera reviewed the recordings of Earth's silence with satisfaction. They have no response because they have no teeth. We should demonstrate that publicly. Aboard Earth's high orbital station, Commander Supreme Linda Park read the same intelligence reports. She did not flinch.
We will not correct them. The standing order remains. Maintain patrol posture. No first fire.
The encrypted directive reached Captain Orrin Hayes aboard the Terran cruiser Resolute, stationed at the border.
The same restraint, hold position, absorb, reveal nothing unless the fleet is about to be overrun.
He forwarded the order to his crew without comment. They understood. Prepare a task force. 80 cruisers. We'll probe their border and see if they are as toothless as we believe. In the Dravani shipyards, 80 cruisers began their launch sequence, and Earth continued its quiet countdown. The Dravani High Command convened in closed session. The vote to demonstrate Earth's weakness was unanimous. Commodore Voss, you will lead the task force. A clean victory will echo across the galaxy.
80 cruisers against 12 antiques? This will be over before they know it started.
Admiral Vera watched the tactical plot with clinical pride. Her thesis would be validated in battle. Let them see what happens when obsolete doctrine meets modern firepower. The Dravani Armada executed a synchronized jump. 80 cruisers vanished into hyperspace in a wave of blue light. Aboard the Terran cruiser Resolute, the long-range sensors remained silent. No warning lit the console.
Status unchanged. Maintain watch. They will come sooner or later.
The Armada crossed the void in a matter of hours. Their formation was perfect, their confidence absolute. The 12 antique ships drifted in loose formation, unaware that the countdown had just reached its final phase. Space tore open in a cascade of blue light as 80 Dravani cruisers dropped out of hyperspace, forming a ring of destruction around the 12 Terran vessels. No hailing, no warning. Their forward batteries glowed gold-orange and released 80 lances of particle energy converging on the motionless patrol.
All batteries, fire at will. Let them see what Dravani steel can do against paper targets.
Aboard the Resolute, the hull reverberated like a struck bell. Captain Hayes stood motionless on the bridge, eyes fixed on the damage plotter.
Hold position. No return fire. I want damage reports, not heroics. We hold until the clock runs out.
The Terran cruisers absorbed the first volley without maneuvering. Their outer armor glowed cherry red, then crumbled, but beneath, the inner hull refused to yield.
They're not evading. They're not even angling their shields. Just sitting there.
His tactical officer highlighted the hull stress readings. 70%. No breach. Caden's smirk faded into something colder. Minutes bled together. 5. 8. The antique ships should have been debris. At 10 minutes, the Dravani gunners began to miss their marks.
11 minutes. All ships confirm internal status and stand by for Phase 2.
On Caden's tactical display, every Terran hull simultaneously registered a secondary energy signature, impossible heat blooms detonating deep within the ancient frames. Along each antique ship, hairline seams ignited in perfect symmetry, blinding white against the black of space. The outer armor plates peeled back in sections, not collapsing but opening like a flower engineered to bloom in vacuum. Contained inside each shell, a sleek warship of black composite and pulsing gold energy lines detached, weapons already cycling.
They're not ships, they're shells. All batteries. Target the new contacts. Fire everything you have.
His tactical officer reported the impossible. Dravani targeting computers couldn't achieve a lock. The new ships were moving with unpredictable, aggressive patterns.
All units engage. Show them why we waited 11 minutes.
On the Resolute's bridge, Hayes watched the fruits of a decade's silent preparation slide into attack formation. 12 modern warships pivoted as one, their weapon ports aligning with the stunned Dravani fleet like blades finding their mark. Caden's bridge fell utterly silent. Every officer stared, and the trap the Dravani had mocked for years snapped shut. The first Terran lance struck a Dravani cruiser amidships. The shield flared white, then failed. The hull split open like wet paper. 2 more Dravani ships detonated in rapid succession. Their formation, so confident moments before, shattered into burning fragments.
All ships, emergency withdrawal, abandon formation, jump anywhere.
His tactical display cascaded with red icons. 20 ships gone. 40. The 80 that had so confidently arrived were now only 17.
This was supposed to be a demonstration, we were so sure.
At 9 minutes after the Terran ships activated, the last Dravani survivors warped out, leaving 63 wrecks drifting in the border zone.
That's impossible. Every intelligence report confirmed obsolescence. They were supposed to crumple. I built my entire career on that assumption. The Federation trusted that assumption. We were all wrong.
Status reports from all units. Any damages, any losses, I want full silence for the record.
The galaxy would not see the full picture for hours. But in 9 minutes, Earth had rewritten the rules of war, and still they chose not to speak. In her quarters, Admiral Vera sat alone, the tactical feed replaying on a loop. The hulls opening, the black ships emerging, a decade of analysis. The foundation of our military doctrine. It was all built on a lie we told ourselves. They never corrected us. They let us believe. And I was the one who wrote it down for the entire galaxy. She reached out and froze the image at the moment the flower bloomed, antique rust splitting to reveal gleaming black perfection. Every ship in their fleet could be the same. The thought was a physical weight in her chest. A priority alert shattered the silence, a recall order from the High Command. She was to return immediately and explain the engagement. They will want a scapegoat, and I gave them one, printed, and peer-reviewed. She did not move for several minutes. The footage played on, her legacy reduced to a catastrophic miscalculation. They will force a retraction. My name will become a warning, and I deserve it. Outside her window, the cold stars offered no comfort. Her career, like the Dravani fleet, had been hollowed from within. In the Dravani war chamber, analyst Tark Velm stood before the High Council, his ocular implants flickering as he brought up the evidence.
The Terran ships were never obsolete. Each outer hull is a mobile construction yard, a subwomb housing a modern warship.
He rotated a holographic cross-section. An antique cruiser with the internal cradle visible, the sleek black vessel nested within like a blade in a sheath.
They waited 11 minutes, not out of defiance, but to complete the birth sequence. We fired on the delivery ward.
The council chamber, once the stage for Charlotte's accolades, erupted now with voices of accusation and fear.
If this design applies to all 4,000 Terran ships, the Earth's true fleet strength is 8 times our worst estimate.
A senior counselor stood, voice cutting through the din, and demanded Admiral Vera issue a formal retraction of her paper to be struck from every Academy database. Understood. I will prepare the statement. The council approved the retraction order without dissent. Earth's embassy remained silent, its channels closed, its countdown now a galactic heartbeat. The broadcast went live on every Dravani channel. Admiral Charlotte Vera stood at a silver podium, her crest flat, her eyes hollow.
The Federation has conducted a review of the recent border engagement. Our previous assessment of Earth's fleet was fundamentally incorrect. Those vessels were not antiques. They were mobile containment units, birthing modern warships of a class we had no knowledge of.
Behind her, the footage played, the flower bloom of hulls, the black ships emerging, the Dravani cruisers shattering.
As the author of the report that shaped our doctrine, I accept full responsibility. The failure is mine alone.
The statement was routed to 17 military academies and every major news network. Within an hour, the galaxy's laughter died. Analysts who had mocked the antique ships now ran emergency simulations. The mockery was replaced by a spreading dread. The footage of the opening hulls was replayed billions of times. It became the most shared piece of military intelligence in a generation.
Effective immediately. My paper, Why Earth Cannot Compete, is withdrawn from all official records. There will be no further comment.
Earth's diplomatic channels remained mute. No gloating, no correction. Only the same silence that had always been their answer. After the retraction, intelligence agencies across 5 empires ran the same extrapolation.
If the pattern holds, 4,000 outer hulls mean 4,000 inner warships, a fleet of 32,000 vessels we never accounted for.
The numbers were confirmed, checked, and rechecked by analysts who had spent careers mocking Earth. In the Galactic Council chamber, the data was presented to the gathered representatives of 14 species.
Earth never claimed those were their warships. They simply parked them and waited for us to draw the wrong conclusion.
The chamber descended into a rare, unscripted silence. Military attaches exchanged glances of naked alarm. An emergency session was called. No species had faced a threat so invisible by design. The Dravani Council received the assessment with grim acceptance. Their humiliation was now a shared crisis. Earth's orbital stations remained dark. The old cruisers drifted on patrol, their secrets still sealed inside. The galaxy held its breath, waiting for Earth to speak. But Earth knew the value of silence. In the Earth Command Center, Commander Supreme Linda Park reviewed the intelligence feeds with unblinking calm.
The galaxy has started asking the right question, not why we stayed silent, but what else are we hiding? I've drafted a response. It's 4 sentences. No apology, no explanation beyond the necessary minimum.
Her senior diplomatic advisor stepped forward, concern etched on his face. He proposed a longer, more conciliatory draft.
Conciliation is what they heard for a decade. That era is over. This is the message that will be sent. They will read it, and they will understand exactly how badly they misjudged us, and they will know we chose to let them. Regarding the recent incident at our border, we note the sudden interest in our fleet's design. We never said those were our warships. You assumed.
Her staff fell silent. The weight of the final sentence landed like a physical blow. Justified, unapologetic, irrevocable.
Cue it for broadcast on all diplomatic channels. No embargo, no preamble. Let them hear our silence end.
The message, now loaded and encrypted, sat in the transmission queue. Earth was about to speak, and the galaxy would learn that quiet did not mean weak. The broadcast initiated. On every diplomatic frequency, Earth's silence was broken by a single, unadorned message. Regarding the recent incident at our border, we note the sudden interest in our fleet's design. We never said those were our warships, you assumed. The words propagated across the galaxy at light speed, translated into 17 languages, landing in war rooms and public squares. In the Galactic Council, the Dravani ambassador's crest flattened. The Kethari representative set down his cup, tendrils gone rigid. Analyst Tark, watching from the war room, rechecked his extrapolations. The numbers hadn't changed. The threat was real. News networks across 5 empires interrupted broadcasts. The headline was identical: Earth claims it never lied.
Now they understand the value of silence, and they will wonder what else we've chosen not to say.
Command centers across the galaxy ran emergency war games. The simulations were catastrophic. Every scenario ended in fleet-wide annihilation. For the first time, the laughter had stopped. The galaxy swallowed dryly and waited for whatever Earth would do next. The transmission ended. The message remained, a permanent scar on the arrogance of a dozen empires. Within hours, 17 military academies issued emergency curriculum updates, purging Charlotte's paper from their databases.
The entire foundation of our strategic doctrine was built on a single false assumption. We are completely exposed.
The Galactic Council announced an immediate suspension of all joint military exercises with the Dravani Federation.
We taught the galaxy to mock Earth. Now they mock us and fear them. The Dravani name is poison.
War colleges across 5 empires convened crisis sessions. Strategic plans that depended on Terran irrelevance were torn up. At Earth Command, Linda Park received the intelligence reports without comment. The silence she had cultivated was now a weapon. The Dravani fleet was ordered to stand down all forward deployments. For the first time in a century, their borders were undefended. The Kethari, the Orendi, the Talon Concord all severed military cooperation with the Dravani within a week.
The galaxy's entire military doctrine must be rewritten from scratch. Earth didn't defeat us in battle. They defeated our way of thinking.
The old order was dead, and Earth, still largely silent, had become the most feared power in known space. Within a month, 5 Imperial delegations arrived at Earth's orbital station, bearing gifts and formal requests for non-aggression treaties. Earth's diplomats, under direct orders from Commander Supreme Park, received them in a modest conference room, no grand gestures, only quiet authority.
You come seeking peace after years of ridicule. We accept your treaties, but offer no concessions in return.
The signing took 17 minutes. No amendments were made. The ambassadors placed their seals in subdued silence.
They know now that our silence was never weakness. It was patience, cultivated over a decade, and it has bought us a peace we didn't have to beg for.
After the treaties, Linda walked to a viewport overlooking the shipyard where the old cruisers were being repaired.
These vessels will remain in service. Let every foreign ship that passes see them and remember.
The ambassadors departed, their ships passing the same antique hulls they had mocked, now monuments to their humiliation. Galactic news services broadcast the signing. The footage always cut to the old ships, sitting silent in their berths. Earth had answered the galaxy's laughter with a quiet, permanent victory. The mockery was dead, and in its place, a fragile, uneasy peace. In the late hours of Earth Command, Linda Park stood alone at the wide viewport, the formation of old cruisers drifting in silent patrol.
A decade of being underestimated, of letting them laugh. And now this.
A junior officer approached cautiously, datapad in hand, her expression weary but resolute.
Yes, Lieutenant?
The officer hesitated, then asked the question that hung in every command center across the galaxy.
Ma'am, what now? Now we maintain the peace we never had to beg for, and we let them wonder.
She turned back to the window. The old cruisers remained, their outer shells scarred, their inner cores carrying a secret that had reshaped the galaxy. The vessel nearest to the station seemed to hang in space, a monument to patience and misdirection. The camera lingered on the ancient hull, and somewhere inside, the second ship waited, unborn, for a war that would never come. In the months that followed, the old cruisers became a permanent fixture of Earth's border patrols, their presence a quiet warning. The galaxy's military journals published exhaustive analyses, but Earth never confirmed nor denied the scale of their fleet. Commander Supreme Park issued no further statements. The silence itself became Earth's new doctrine. Trade routes realigned. Non-aligned worlds petitioned for Earth's protection. The balance of power had shifted permanently. The Dravani Federation, now a pariah, struggled to rebuild its fleet with outdated intelligence and a shattered reputation. Admiral Charlotte Vera's name became a cautionary tale taught to cadets. Arrogance in the face of silence. Linda Park continued her watch. The antique ships her silent sentinels, the secret inside each hull still intact. And across the galaxy, every time an alien warship sighted those scarred antique hulls, its crew remembered the day Earth stopped being quiet. The war that never came was the greatest victory of all. And deep within each shell, the newborn warships slept, ready for a day that Earth no longer feared. In a sparse room on the Dravani homeworld, Admiral Charlotte Vera received a final visitor.
Admiral, the Council has a final request. You possess residual knowledge of Earth's old fleet patterns. They want you to write an analysis to guide our renewal.
They want me to rebuild what I destroyed, to give them hope when I have none. I can write about the ships, but not about the silence. That is a lesson you must learn yourselves.
The Council will not be satisfied with that. They want a public endorsement of the new doctrine.
No, I will not endorse another assumption. My career was built on one, and it killed thousands. I will not give them another.
If you refuse, you will be erased from the historical record. No pension, no honors. Your name will be struck from every hall.
Then I will become a silence. Perhaps that is the only truth I have left to give.
Tark left without another word. The official archives would later note only that Admiral Vera was retired without comment, and in her self-imposed silence, she became, in her own way, another weapon Earth had never fired. 1 year after the border skirmish, the Galactic Council gathered in formal session. The chamber displayed Earth's banner for the first time. A resolution was read, acknowledging Earth's Trojan fleet strategy as the most effective military deception in modern history.
You came to this understanding on your own. We simply allowed the galaxy to see what it assumed.
Commander Supreme Park's words cut through the chamber. No gloating, no apology, only the quiet steel Earth had always possessed.
The old ships will remain in service, not as a threat, but as a reminder that real strength does not require noise.
Species after species rose to affirm a new treaty recognizing Earth's leadership in galactic security. The Dravani were last. The treaty was signed not in the council chamber, but aboard the cruiser Resolute, the very ship where the countdown began.
We were never obsolete. We just waited for you to catch up.
Outside, in the cold silence, the old cruisers held their formation, their inner warships still unborn guardians of a peace built on patience and misdirection. And the galaxy at last understood that the most dangerous weapons are the ones you never see coming. In the months after the treaty, the Terran fleet's deployment pattern changed. The old cruisers moved from border patrols to the heart of the Galactic Council's territory. Earth's engineers, in a rare public act, reinforced the hulls without disturbing the inner ships. The secret remained intact.
We never sought this role, but when the galaxy assumed our weakness, we let that assumption protect us. Now, we will let it protect the peace.
The speech was broadcast live. In alien capitals, translators struggled to convey the weight of every measured word. At the Galactic Military Academy, a new course was added: Strategic Silence and Asymmetric Deception. Earth's doctrine was studied, never fully understood. The old cruiser Resolute was decommissioned from active service and placed in a permanent orbital museum, the first Terran starship so honored. Captain Hayes, now retired, stood before it one last time. He didn't speak. He just watched the hull that had hidden their victory.
It was never about the ship. It was about the silence, and they'll never know how much we kept inside.
And in every Terran shipyard, the new warships continued to grow, hidden in plain sight, for a day that might never come. At the annual Galactic Assembly, the Council erected a permanent monument, a life-size sculpture of an antique Terran cruiser, hull sealed but faintly glowing from within. The inscription, in 17 languages, read, "We assumed," they answered. "Let silence be the teacher."
We harbored no malice. but we also harbored no illusions. The galaxy taught us that silence is the only argument that cannot be rebutted.
The message was not a victory speech. It was a eulogy for the era of noise that had nearly consumed the galaxy. All active Terran warships remained under silent protocols. No public fleet reviews, no displays of strength, only the quiet patrol of antique hulls. Commander Supreme Park, now an icon of resolve, appeared only once more in public to pin the first silent service medal on Captain Hayes' retired uniform.
This is for 11 minutes of patience that bought a century of peace.
The old cruisers were never retired. They became the backbone of a defensive grid that no empire dared test. And every academy, every war college, every aspiring tactician learned the doctrine of the Matryoshka. In war, never show your real strength. The galaxy was silent now, and Earth, having used silence as a shield, watched over a peace that had been won not by fire but by unseen steel. In her private office, Linda Park kept a small wooden model of the cruiser Resolute on her desk. She would sometimes run her fingers over its worn hull.
They will never know how much we kept inside, and that is the only reason this piece endures.
Through the window, the real Resolute drifted in its museum berth, a permanent exhibit, its hull sealed and scarred. Tourists from a dozen worlds visited daily, taking hollows, reading the plaque, home of the silent victory. None of them knew that deep within, the real warship still slept, its systems on standby, waiting for a call that never came. The war that never happened had been fought with patience, not plasma, and Earth had won before the first shot was fired. On the borders, the old cruisers continued their silent patrol. Every alien crew that passed them knew these ships had changed the galaxy. Linda Park retired years later, leaving no successor with the same title. Her final order was simple: maintain the silence. And so they did. The antique hulls never bloomed again. The inner warships remained in their wombs of steel, proof that the most terrible weapon is the one you never need to use. And the galaxy, finally silent, understood that Earth had answered the laughter not with a roar, but with a whisper that lasted forever. A century passed. The museum still drew visitors, and the old cruisers still drifted on the borders, unchanged, their secrets intact. Children of a dozen species would press their hands against the glass, staring at the scarred hull, and their parents would whisper the story.
We never fired the inner ships. The galaxy gave us peace because we were ready to. That was always enough.
In the archives, Linda Park's final order was displayed: maintain the silence. It had never been rescinded. The Matryoshka doctrine became the foundation of galactic strategy. Never reveal your full strength, never answer noise with noise. And when new empires rose, arrogant and loud, they would look at the antique ships and remember, the quiet ones are never weak. The old cruisers were never modernized. They were preserved, a testament to the war that wisdom had averted. Earth never sought empire. It sought only to be left in peace, and it achieved that by making aggression impossible to consider. The galaxy had learned its lesson. And in the vacuum, the whisper of Earth's patience would outlast any roar. End of transmission.